A new era has dawned in the Ultimate Frisbee Association. The best of the best will face off in the all-new Super Series. And tonight's matchup pits a Salt Lake squad facing sky-high expectations against a DC group with renewed hope after its biggest divisional foe lost multiple MVP talents. It's the first battle between the Breeze and the Shred in league history. And the road to 2024 championship weekend starts now. Nestled in between the Wasatch and Oquirrh Mountains is Zions Bank Stadium, the site of the first Super Series matchup of the 2024 season in the Ultimate Frisbee Association. We've got the DC Breeze going up against the Salt Lake Shred, last year's finalists from Championship Weekend. Thank you so much for joining us here on WatchUFA.tv. Ian Toner alongside Alex Atkins. Atkins, this is such an exciting time to be involved in professional Frisbee. We can now say professional Frisbee. We've got a new disc. We've got excitement about new rosters and new teams and new strategies. How are you feeling coming into this year?
I mean, I can't help but feel a little bit excited sitting here in the chair right now. I'm smiling. It is an exciting new year in the UFA.
Lucky to have you here in the booth with us. The Colorado Summit don't start their season until next weekend at home against the Seattle Cascades, but let's take a look at all of the wonderful and exciting changes coming to the league this year. You've known the league as the American Ultimate Disc League for the past 12 seasons, but the same great excitement and athleticism is back with a new brand, the Ultimate Frisbee Association. The league partnering with the previous licensing holders and owners, getting the rights to use the Frisbee name, both in the league name and in its own products. And we're going to be playing with a new disc this season. Out is the Discraft Ultra Star, and new and in is the Professional Ultimate Frisbee, which will be used for all games this season. Alex, I know you've been practicing with that disc so far. How does it feel? How does it differ relative to the previous disc?
It feels pretty similar. It flies slightly different. It's a little more stable than the old discs that we were using. It will hold its inside out edge a little bit more. It'll sail a little bit more. So there were it wasn't uncommon to see some overthrows at practice.
So what do you think the impact of that is going to be on teams like DC coming to elevation, not only dealing with the new disc, but also with the lighter, thinner air at elevation?
Yeah, it may take some adjustments, and there may be some overshots early, but they have so many good throwers on their roster, I think they'll be able to dial it in.
Yeah, if you've read any of Evan Lepler's reporting, Bryce Merrill, Ben Feldman, Mike DeNardis have all taken note of the differences and what those challenges have posed for their teams in early season practices. Taking a look at some of the other updates, it's so great to have this first Super Series matchup underneath our belt here. All 8 matchups this season are going to be broadcast live and free on the UFA YouTube channel and WatchUFA.tv. We've got rivalry games, first-time face-offs, 4 rematches from the 2023 season, as well as 4 first-time matchups, including tonight's battle between DC and Salt Lake. We're also going to get to see the Shred try and exact some revenge against the New York Empire in Week 10 on June 29th in New York. Another super exciting development here. Zions Bank Stadium, the Salt Lake Ultimate Community, they're going to be the hosts for 2024 Championship Weekend. And frankly, that's putting a lot of pressure on the Salt Lake Shred to defend their home turf, Alex.
Yeah, it definitely puts a little bit more pressure on the Salt Lake Shred. But luckily, this is a great venue. I think it's really exciting for the UFA to have it here. It's a great stadium, a beautiful setting, and what a spot to have the championship weekend.
We know owners Joel DeLynn, Bryce Merrill, and the rest of the group have been making all the preparations to make sure everyone's set up for a wonderful, successful weekend. That's a 3-game event that will be held over 2 days, both semifinals being played on Friday. The winners advancing to 2024 Championship Saturday, on Saturday, August 24th. You can get your tickets now at shopufa.com. The Power Up Trail Mix pregame show continues. When we come back, we'll learn about the DC coaching changes and what else we have in store on the Salt Lake coaching staff. Stay right here on Watch UFA TV YouTube.
Oh, he's getting the crowd going.
Are you kidding me? You are kidding me! Holy smokes!
Was there any doubt? Was there any doubt?
This is going to be the game. Joel Clutton battling for position. He tips it to the end zone where it's caught by Elijah Jaime at the buzzer to tie the game. Incredible awareness from Clutton, and we've got overtime tonight. the grand stage to keep possession alive. Huge bid, gets the
It's a great
time.
opportunity for the Germans, and they break with ease.
Throw it the full 80 yards to the field.
Are you kidding me? And an incredible catch. You are kidding me.
Oh my God!
One of the plays of the year.
The Power Up Trail Mix pregame show continues here inside Zions Bank Stadium, moments away from opening pull. DC Breeze getting set to face off against the Salt Lake Shred. DC is going to look a little different this year. We're going to get to the personnel differences on field later in our pregame show, but we can't go anywhere without talking about their leadership changes at the helm. Daryl Stanley leading this team for 7 seasons, 7 playoff appearances, earning a division title in 2021, a regular season winning percentage above 700. This man left a mark and a legacy on this program, and he's going to leave big shoes to fill behind him.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it in the clips on screen. He just brought so much energy to the team. I think it's a coach that you really get excited to play for. It's easy to have fun for a coach like Daryl Stanley.
He's recognized as one of the best tacticians in the league. When you observe him as a player, thinking about how he directs his players as a coach, what sticks out to you about his style?
I mean, other than Daryl standing on the point, getting his binoculars out, kind of seeing who's on the field, I think, yeah, he just brings like a different kind of style to the game. I think DC has really revolutionized this small ball kind of offense. And I think what a good coach does is builds a system around his players. And I think what Daryl did really well was allow his players to thrive in their strengths.
Well, GM Sean Banks, the ownership group with Ty Simpson and others, they wasted no time finding a replacement, and they brought in the immensely qualified Lauren Boyle. You see her credentials right here on the screen, experience at the Team USA national level. Of course, an assistant coach with the DC Truck Stop Club team that just won a national championship with so many of these players last fall. And when we were talking to the group and the team before this game this week, they mentioned how excited they were about the new energy she brought and how much that reinvigorated the commitment of some of the players on the roster.
Yeah, and as much as it's hard to see a coach like Daryl go, it can be really exciting to bring a new, fresh change of scenery in. And I think that's something a lot of the players are going to look forward to, just having something new and exciting. And it seems like Lauren is a really good coach at letting her players kind of lead, again, bringing out their strengths and not feeling like she's the one that has to make all the decisions.
Yeah, it's the hallmark of good leadership, right? Just surround yourself with smart people and let them give you the inputs to make those great decisions. So that's the DC coaching staff. Salt Lake is bringing back the 2023 Coach of the Year, who, of course, wasted no time letting Ben Yacht hear it at halftime in their matchup against the New York Empire last summer. And he got this team from a West Division Championship appearance in 2022 to a league championship appearance in 2023. I mean, the expectations for his staff, his team, got to be sky high going into this season.
Yeah, I mean, expectations are really high, especially considering, like we talked about before championship weekend here, there's a lot that Salt Lake wants to accomplish.
He's really helped this offense take on a new identity last year, but from what we understand, they're divvying up the responsibilities a little differently within the Salt Lake coaching staff going into this season.
Yeah, it seems like Coach Caldwell is going to be coaching the O. Bryce is moving over to D. I mean, the offense did such a good job last year taking a step up. They had been known as kind of a little bit loose with the disc, the year prior. Stepping into last year, they were really stingy. It was really hard to get the disc away from him. And this year he's moving over to the D, and maybe they'll be able to take another step up there as well.
Yeah, I wonder what assistant coach Taylor Caldwell will be able to get out of this offense for Salt Lake City, one of the best offensive units in the league. When we come back here on the Power Up Trail Mix pregame show, we're going to take a look at some of the stars to watch from Salt Lake and DC. Don't go anywhere. We'll still be live here on Watch UFA TV and the Watch UFA YouTube.
Of course you want to be a champion. Of course you want to be working towards winning titles.
Be happy, but never satisfied.
Better than ever.
Hello, Premium Trail Mix. Power Up is a snack that is uncomplicated and uncompromising. Every ingredient is thoughtfully sourced and carefully crafted for a mix that elevates your snacking experience. There's no better way to power up your day.
Welcome back to Zions Bank Stadium, moments away from opening pull here at the first Super Series matchup of 2024. Ian Toner with Alex Atkins. Alex, when we look at this Salt Lake offense, this was a real machine last season. This was a group that converted at 75% at home. It had the best offensive efficiency rating in the league and scored more points per game than any other team in the league. A big reason for that success, MVP runner-up Jordan Kerr.
Yeah, Jordan Kerr, he's a real killer in the end zone. He has a lot of different throws in his arsenal. Look for him to end lots of points in today's game. He can break the mark. He can go over the top. He'll even score a few goals. He just has a lot of weapons, and however they need to get it done, he's able to do that.
Last season, notching career highs in goals, completion percentage, receiving yards, and, of course, also to go with that high completion percentage, a career low in turns. And here are his thoughts on the DC matchup tonight.
I think when you look at our athletes, we have a lot of big athletes. We love to play in open space. We love to challenge the disc on deep shots, and that is very much not what DC loves to do. They're very handler-oriented, very give-and-go, small ball dominant. And yes, I think we have the pieces that can play that kind of style or play against it, but they're very good at it. I think they're the best at it. So it'll definitely be a good challenge for our players.
Stylistic differences between these offenses, but if Jordan Kerr is going to have success, he's going to need help from his scoring buddy, Jay Stunabile.
Yeah, I think that was one of the big things that helped out the Salt Lake offense last year. Was in their first year, Jordan had a big load. Last year, they had a lot of new players in place that were able to take some of that load off of Jordan's shoulders. Jace is a really solid player. He never tries to do anything more difficult than he needs to do. He connects their offense very well. He throws easy passes that are in his arsenal, and that's why he's, scores and catches a lot of goals, but keeps his turnovers very low.
Career highs in assists, plus minus, goals. completion percentage, throwing yards, receiving yards, and hockey assists last season for the league's most improved player. DC's offense is going to look a little different. No Ben Ort, no Christian Boxley, but one man expected to shoulder a lot of the load, Team USA selection, Johnny Moss.
Yeah, talk about someone with a lot of throws. He can really do it all. One of the best throwers in our sport. Johnny can throw flicks, backhands, hammers, scoobers, you name it, Johnny can throw it. And he's also really athletic, so he can get downfield. He can get open at will in the handler space. And he's just a tough player to match up against.
Third team All-AUDL, now All-UFA selection dating back to last season. Career highs in goals and blocks, and what an exceptional campaign he put together last year. He's going to have a ton of pressure on his shoulders heading into this season. Moments away here from opening pull between the DC Breeze and Salt Lake Shred. The Power Up pregame show concludes, but don't go anywhere. The Super Series getting set for opening pull right here on Watch UFA TV and Watch UFA's YouTube.
Oh, he's getting the crowd going.
Are you kidding me? You are kidding me!
Holy smoke! Was there any doubt? Was there any doubt?
This is going to be the game. Joel Clutton battling for position. He tips it to the end zone where it's caught by Elijah Jaime at the buzzer to tie the game. Incredible awareness from Clutton, and we've got overtime tonight. On the grand stage to keep possession alive. Huge bid, gets the time.
Great opportunity for the Germans, and they break with ease.
Throw it the full 80 yards to the field? Are you kidding me? And an incredible catch. You are kidding me.
Oh my God!
One of the plays of the year.
The captains meeting at midfield here at Zions Bank Stadium before opening pull. Head game official Joe Strong leading the coin toss. You see Reese Bergeron and A.J. Merriman along with Rowan McDonnell leading the core for DC. Jordan Kerr, Nathan Huff, and Grant Lindsley leading the crew from Salt Lake City. DC Leadership Corps missing a little bit tonight. David Bloodgood unable to attend. And fun fact, David Bloodgood is getting set to defend his PhD thesis. He's pursuing a PhD in molecular biology from the University of Maryland. And the title of his thesis, get this, investigating mechanisms underlying MLO's role as a host factor essential for pathogenesis of powdery mildew fungi. I'm not going to ask you to elaborate on that. I'm just going to tip my cap to David and can't wait to see him back out on the field and wish him best of luck with that defense, because that sounds like it's stuff on another level to me.
Yeah, way to go, David. I hope your defense and thesis is just as good as it is on the UFA field.
The Salt Lake Shred taking to the field with their defensive unit led by puller Gene LaRue, sharing some of those duties with Kyle Weinberg as they toss the disc back and forth. It was a little cloudy and rainy earlier here in the Salt Lake area, but those clouds have given way to a little bit of sunlight. The wind, however, is still hanging around. It's something we've seen die down at sunset here at the Zions Bank Stadium complex, but it looks like the Salt Lake Shred group are going to be pulling in the direction that's largely upwind, so DC will be attacking with the wind at its back.
Yeah, it'll definitely be something to watch out for in this game. That is one thing that I think these new discs are a bit better at, which is holding up in the wind. So we'll see how it plays out in this one.
DC's O-line huddling on the sideline until the absolute last minute. Lauren Boyle giving instruction to Cole Jurek, Andrew Roy, Johnny Malks, Tyler Monroe, Thomas Edmonds, Zach Burpee coming over to this DC squad after being rostered with New York in 2023. And who else but former MVP Rowan McDonnell, another Team USA selection, getting set to take the field here for DC. We talked in the pregame show about how wonderfully efficient this Salt Lake offense was in 2023, but the DC offense, not too shabby either. Their 61.4 offensive efficiency rating, second in the UFA. Their 20.7 goals per game, seventh in the UFA. And, of course, they will be operating without Ben Ort or Christian Boxley as the 2024 Super Series gets underway. Johnny Malks fields the disc at the back line, centers to Andrew Roy. Thomas Edmonds gets the first under. Dishy to Roy, and he bobbles it. A short field for the Salt Lake defense. Monga flips it right into the end zone, and that's an opening break for the Salt Lake Shred. Chad Jorgensen, the third-year D-liner, reeling in the opening break.
Unfortunate drop there for Roy. And I think you tend to see that in these early UFA games. There can be a little bit more mistakes. It's going to be important for DC to not
Here we go. It's this side. It's this side. This side, Solid. This side. Yes, Healy. That's great, Healy. Keep battling, Healy. Come on, Isaac. Healy, still you. Healy.
Jorgensen continuing to Simon Dastrup. And that's the second break of the first quarter, the second break of the game for the Salt Lake Shred.
And I mean, the thing is, another just fantastic pull from Salt Lake, pinning DC in the back of their end zone. They're just not able to get any motion to start their points, and just in the wind, you know, popping some throws up. It's a tough start for the DC Breeze offense, and great defense from Salt Lake.
Simon Dastrup, the 21-year-old at BYU, 6'4", in his second season with the Shred. Appeared in just 3 games in the 2023 regular season, but getting the early activation here in the 2024 Shred campaign. Taylor Barton on the pull. For the Shred, another, as you pointed out, Alex, fantastic pull, pinning DC in the back half of their own end zone. Thomas Edmonds trying to slow down his momentum. And that's an offensive foul for initiating the contact, so he'll have to back up. Edmonds working against the double team. Of course, that's legal in the UFA. And Salt Lake thought they had a Callahan. However, Gus Norbaum was fouled on the release of that throw. So DC will maintain possession, just marching the disc up 10 yards.
Yeah, Salt Lake marking really tight on the disc. It'll be interesting to see how the refs call that this game.
Here's Jurek, throws through the double team to Roy. Burpee. McDonald fakes the deep shot, resets to Norbaum. Norbaum trying to find his receiver on the sidelines. He's got Jurek. Norbaum, that skinny inside, just so backbreaking to those defensive schemes. Roy with the reset. Edmonds around. Norbaum on the doorstep, wanted McDonald, instead opts for Edmonds. And DC finally earns another hold, back within 2.
Yeah, that's more like it from the DC offense, able to get those quick, short passes moving, make it really hard for the defense to know where the disc is going to come from next. Able to string together a bunch of nice ones there and march it down the field. These Salt Lake pulls have been really impressive, I got to say. Very impressed with the pulls.
Beg your pardon, DC back within 1 on that connection from Gus Norbaum to Thomas Edmonds. And talking to the Salt Lake coaching staff, we talked about it a little bit in the pregame, but when they reflected on their path to championship weekend, Alex, and what they learned while there, Bryce Merrill and his staff decided, hey, we can't just run it back in 2024 with the same exact personnel, the same exact play calls, the same exact systems. They've divvied up some of the line calling responsibility, and they're integrating some new players and new systems relative to the play style we saw last year in 2023. Here's Sean Knoll, finds Grant Lindsley upline. And an easy continuation into the end zone That's Ben Field, the UFA rookie and Northeastern product, with his first goal with the shred and first goal in professional Frisbee play.
Salt Lake moving it down the field pretty easily right now. DC's defense is going to have to crank it up a notch as this game moves forward.
Field, one of the new additions to the Salt Lake Shred roster, and the coaching staff during the week telling us how much chemistry he's been forming with Will Selfridge and Jordan Kerr and other guys, especially in that finishing quadrant of the field around the red zone.
Yeah, and Benfield, a rookie to the UFA, but not a rookie to Ultimate. He's been known around the Ultimate community for a little bit now. Very talented player with great size.
Another pull hanging for quite some time. This is maybe the first one that didn't land in the end zone. Edmonds off the front of the stack. Swings it to Roy. Rowan McDonald with some touch on the downwind shot, and you can see just how much the wind is carrying that one too far for the speedster Tyler Monroe.
Yeah, and that's going to be one of the things to look out for in this game with the loss of Boxley, or if they've lost some really explosive players. Who are they going to shoot deep to on offense is one question for the Breeze.
Merrill working against the double team, and Edmonds comes up with the timely foot block. Here's Wodach. Nice offhand to Monroe. Johnny Malks surveying his options, looking for McDonald. Monroe. Pressured by Dastrup. Andrew Roy gets the around. This DC offense content to throw as many passes as it takes. Jurek continues to the cone, and Edmonds slides in for his second goal of the game.
Definitely took a lot of passes there down at the end zone. That was good pressure from the Salt Lake defense. I can't tell if DC is content to swing it around and if this is, you know, part of their game plan and they're a little more okay with it. I'm kind of on the side right now that I think Salt Lake is applying a lot of pressure and DC is finding it difficult to string advancing yard-gaining passes down the field right now.
DC has had 4 offensive points so far, and they have had turns on all but one of them. So this Breeze O-line gonna have to find a way to clean things up. And you can also point out the Salt Lake squad leaving a few opportunities on the table.
Definitely.
Here's Sean Knoll. Ben Field dropping the easy under in the middle of a triple team. And here's Jurek. Here's Remy Paust. Here's Jurek crossing over. Charlie McCutcheon playing catch with Jurek. Jurek pulling double duty after being out there for that last O point. Resets to Luke Rafus. Inside, hanging, and the wind rearing its presence and teeth again. Another turnover for DC. Here's Grant Lindsley. Finds Selfridge underneath. Kerr shooting deep, putting it on a shelf. Knoll with nobody around him. Salt Lake regains a 2-goal lead.
Great touch there from Kerr to Knoll on the deep shot. That's the downwind, so not uncommon to see a disc sail a little bit too far for the receiver there, but Kerr able to put the right nose up edge on that, get that to sit nice and flat for Knoll. And a real killer for the Breeze. Not able to punch that in. You had Jurek out there to help him. Really, if you're a Breeze fan, would like to see those short opportunities get punched in.
Well, you know, those red zone situations are where you're missing the likes of David Bloodgood or Jasper Tom or anyone else who can provide some really aggressive and stabilizing handler presence in those break opportunity situations.
Yeah, it seemed like they were just missing that one killer break throw, that one final throw to punch it into the end zone.
If you missed it off the top, David Bloodgood unable to travel with the team, preparing to defend his PhD thesis. Jasper Tom battling injury. Deep shot here to Bonnet, and he makes the catch through contact. DC on the goal line. Bonnet gets up and flips it to Zach Burpee, and that is a quick and assertive response from the Breeze offense.
And that is good to see for the DC Breeze offense because, like I was saying, who's going to stretch the field for them? Well, maybe Elliott. Maybe the Frenchman is going to provide some electricity for the DC Breeze offense.
Bonnet, one of the talents that this group is looking to fill the void left by Christian Boxley on the offense. He made a stellar impression in the Ultimate community when he helped his French compatriots take home a gold medal at the World Championships of Beach Ultimate back in Southern California last fall. AJ Merriman on the pull for DC. Grant Lindsley throws over the poach. Jorgensen pump fakes, resets to Kerr. Here's Lindsley. Finds Selfridge. Looking that disc all the way in. Luke Jorgensen inside to Kerr. Kerr with the crossfield outside in flick. Right on the money for the goal scorer, Jace Dunabile. That connection was electric last season, Alex.
Yeah, and like I said, Jordan just near the end zone, he just has a nose for the goal. Like, he has those throws to get the disc in the end zone. He loves playing in front of this home crowd, and you can see it as soon as he catches that disc. He's looking upfield.
And first goal of the 2024 campaign for Jace Dunabile, who set career highs in assists, goals, plus minus, completion percentage, throwing yards, receiving yards, and hockey assists last season. First out of bounds pull from Salt Lake Shred D-line. And Johnny Malks, the QB1 for DC, will bring the disc into play at the brick mark. Marked by Tony Monga. Norbaum gains some yardage on the swing. Bonnie throws over the poach, and Jurek's in the red zone. McDonald finds Norbaum. Back to McDonald. Fakes the hammer. Stall count rising now, and the reset to Malks. Continuation to Monroe. Leading Malks to space. Tony Monga lays out. The game officials calling a foul on Monga, saying he initiated contact to make that block. Johnny Malks will have the disc centered on the goal line. Malks looking for McDonald on the reset. Oh my goodness, Gene LaRue was inches away from a block there. But Malks connects with the former MVP to bring the Breeze back within one.
Yeah, let's get another look at this defensive effort from Mwanga. Hard to tell from that angle. Tough call for the official. I think they made the correct call. Nice job at the beginning of the point from Elliott and Cole to work through a poach together. Figure out who was unguarded. Nice little 1-2. Get the DC offense moving downfield nice and quick. One of the better points initially from DC.
Tony Amonga, never one to shy away from contact on the defensive side of the ball. And the officials indicating that he went just a bit too far relative to the confines of the rule book. And now Salt Lake's offense back out on the field. Jacob Miller, another one of these O-liners who had himself a tremendous 2023, gets things started. Ben Miller shooting to Will Selfridge. Did he hop in? Yes, sir. That could be another deadly connection for this Shred O-line in 2024.
Ben to Will, that's a deadly connection. Will driving the bus after. You love to see it.
Alex, what do you think about the driving the bus celebration?
I love driving the bus. I love when Will drives the bus. It looks fun. Looks fun to be a bus driver. He makes it look fun.
Yeah, but do you love driving the bus too?
I would love to drive a bus every once in a while, for sure. For sure. Let me drive the bus, Will.
So Ben Field, not even one quarter into his debut with the Shred in the UFA. Already got himself a goal and an assist. And that chemistry that the coaches were raving about with Will Selfridge on display right there.
Yeah, both teams seem to be settling down a bit here after those couple shaky points at the beginning.
Another hanging pull. Gus Norbaum fields it just inside his own end zone. 10 seconds remaining here in the first quarter. Malks up to A-Roy at midfield. Jurek's unmarked. 3 seconds. He's got to put it up. Crossfield. Pack forming. Off Edmonds' hand. I think Dastrup was defending there as well. And Dastrup may be a little bit injured. Edmonds trying to check in on his competitor as we see Jurek with no choice but to pull the trigger. Yeah, I think Dastrup got the block there.
Yeah, you can see the shoulder brace on Simon there. Those end of quarter plays can be a little dangerous.
Salt Lake defending home turf well here in the first Super Series matchup of 2024. 7-5 after one.
Oh, he's getting the crowd going.
Are you kidding me? You are kidding me! Holy smokes!
Was there any doubt? Was there any doubt?
This is going to be the game. Joe Clutton battling for position. He tips it to the end zone where it's caught by Elijah Jaime at the buzzer to tie the game. Incredible awareness from Clutton, and we've got overtime tonight. On the grand stage to keep possession alive. Huge bid, gets the touch.
It's a great opportunity for the Germans, and they break with ease.
Throw it the full 80 yards.
Salt Lake with a 7-5 lead in the first Super Series matchup of 2024 against the DC Breeze. Let's take a look at the first quarter statistics. DC 5 of 10 on offensive possessions. The difference there, Salt Lake 2 of 4 on breaks.
Yes.
Second quarter underway. Here's Jace Dunabile with the disc near midfield, and Cole Jurek with the phenomenal defensive effort. It looked like that was going to be a clean block, but it appears as though the official may be stepping in. And that one arm extending forward, indicating that a contact foul was called. Alex, how you feel about that one?
I don't know. I'm a little torn on that one. I thought Cole got there cleanly, made a good play on the disc.
See if we can take a look at that one after this point concludes. Here's Jacob Miller. DC ratcheting up the pressure on the four-side defense this point. Swing going up to Jordan Kerr in space. Lindsley hounded by Rafis, and his pass to the end zone blocked by Jurek, and he's letting Selfridge know.
Yeah, he's not afraid to let Selfridge know. He definitely got a clean block on that one. DC definitely appeared to ramp up the defense going into the second quarter. A lot of layouts on that first possession.
Important swing off the line there to Kevin Healy. And Jurek, who got the block, drops the underneath throw. And Jacob Miller just throws over the pile into the hands of Sean Knoll. That's a backbreaker for DC.
Yeah, a little back and forth there from Will and Cole. A couple of turnovers going both of their ways. Salt Lake able to punch it in a little bit of a chaotic sequence.
So there's a replay of the goal. We'll see if we can get another look at the initial block that Jurek appeared to think was clean. Here's a look at Jurek's clean block. And you can see Jurek chasing Jacob Miller there, and he switches off his assignment, Alex, to go to that lane.
Yeah, I don't see a lot of contact there. I thought pretty good play from Cole. But yeah, nice heads-up play there from Jurek. Able to switch off his defender, keep his head up on the field, see the throw coming in.
2 turns on the opening point of the second quarter, and a foul assessed on DC. They'll have to receive from the back of their end zone. Salt Lake will be able to pull into the wind 10 yards forward from the brick mark. I beg your pardon. Looks like they'll be able to pull from midfield. Taylor Barton pulling into the wind. And he's going to roll one. That'll get close to the back line. Gus Norbaum up to Andrew Roy. Edmonds with the first underneath. Bonnet. Roy over to Monroe. Norbaum. A lot of touches in his return to the DC Breeze so far. Here's Jeff Wodach. Finds Burpee. Burpee double teamed. Stepping through the mark, looked like he had an opportunity. Joe Strong calling a foul. Strong officiating this game with Nate Dutry, Lee Jensen, and Brian Debnick.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of contact on the mark. Seems like the DC players are maybe getting a little frustrated. Salt Lake doesn't necessarily understand why. Be something interesting.
Edmonds continues. There was no room on that sideline, but Jeff Wodach sliding with the slimmest of margins and staying in bounds for the DC score.
Yeah, Salt Lake came in flying for the block. Must have DC punching it in, but it's tight when they do.
Get another look at this finishing sequence. Thomas Edmonds with an incredibly small window. Johnny Hoffman trying to close it step by step and going fully horizontal, but he couldn't get there. And, you know, Jeff Wodach has been the model of consistency for this DC O-line. He's spanned multiple generations of core talent in the DC Ultimate community, and all UFA selection back in 2016 on the second team. And what did he do last season? Just set career highs in completion rate, Huck completion percentage, and career lows in turnover. As good as ever from the Bucknell product. Here's Grant Lindsley working with Luke Jorgensen. Ben Field pressured there by Fred Farah, but he makes the grab. Luke Jorgensen to Jacob Miller in the red zone. Easy step around backhand, and Jordan Kerr goes horizontal for the score.
Nice offensive possession there from Salt Lake. Interesting to see here, DC having a pretty large offensive rotation and then willing to cross some of those guys over to play defense. So playing offense with about 8 to 9 guys and then crossing some over to play defense. Pretty good pressure fair there from the Breeze, though. Almost able to get a block on that Benfield under.
Fred Farah, the athletic freak from the University of Maryland, coming so close to a block there, but Jordan Kerr getting his first goal of the contest, and Jacob Miller notching his second assist of the quarter and the game. Andrew Roy fielding the pull for DC. Getting the ball to Johnny Monks. He's kind of loath to stay over near that sideline. Wants to keep the disc in the middle of the field. Bonnie gets the disc back from McDonald. Burpee. Great work to manipulate the mark and move the disc over to Bonnie. Here's McDonald. Set aside from a small tweak at practice this week, this is the healthiest and most athletic he's felt in years. Andrew Roy gets the disc up to Johnny Monks. And the Breeze are back within 2.
Yeah, back within 2. They're going to have to apply some pressure here on D. They forced a couple turns from the Salt Lake O, but other than that, Salt Lake has been looking really good on offense.
DC coming into this season with a new sense of optimism. The team they've lost to in the divisional championship for so many years, the New York Empire, now taking the field without the likes of Jeff Babbitt, Ryan Osgar, Ben Katz. Charlie Hoppus is no longer at the helm. John Lithio's playing with Chicago. What do you think about DC's prospects for emerging atop the East Division this season, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, they definitely, you know, coming into the season, probably have higher hopes maybe than they've had in some of the past couple seasons with that New York stacked roster. But they got to take care of business here against Salt Lake if they, you know, want to prove themselves as contenders at UFA championship weekend.
Plenty of work left to do and plenty of time left to go as second quarter action continues here in the first Super Series matchup of 2024. Thanks for spending your Saturday night with us. Ian Toner alongside Colorado Summit star Alex Atkins. The Salt Lake Shred attacking from right to left across your screen in the black jerseys. A beautiful night here at Zions Bank Stadium. Jacob Miller with the soft inside. Kerr with the great grab, and the continuation falls incomplete, but referee Joe Strong calling a contact foul on the release. Disc going back into the hands of Jordan Kerr. A.J. Merriman on the mark for DC. DC taking an injury. That's Remy Paust coming off the field for DC. Appears to be grabbing his shoulder. Charlie McCutcheon taking his place. DC dealing with a couple injuries earlier this season. Jasper Tom unable to travel with his injury. Reese Bergeron not healthy. And as we get back to live action, Kerr with the inside.
Saw out of them out of the first point of the second quarter. So they got to make a little bit of a comeback here. Nice grab there from Kerr to save possession.
Jordan Kerr with his second assist of the game. Will Selfridge with his second goal. And Ben Ashton on the pull for Salt Lake. Malks to Norbon. Edmond streaks across for the first under. Jurek. Offhand to Bonnet. I beg your pardon, that's Malks. Edmonds on the far sideline now. Back to McDonald. Norbaum pumps the around, instead opts for the inside. Monroe. Scuber over the top to Malks. Edmonds. Here's McDonald. Finds Jurek on the goal line, and Jurek continues to Tyler Monroe. DC back within 2. Tyler Monroe, been a fixture in the DC Ultimate scene, and that point, Alex, as demonstrative as any of DC's insistence on the small ball, reset, break mark, higher percentage looks. A style that Salt Lake doesn't typically see against its West Division opponents.
No, we like to shoot it over here early and often out in the West. In this elevation, Salt Lake and Colorado and some of those West Coast warmer weather areas, disc likes to fly high and far. But yeah, DC moving it quick. They've settled in a bit, starting to get it together. We'll see what this defense has in store, if they can take the ball away from Salt Lake.
So after 2 breaks in the opening sequences of the first quarter, DC's been a lot cleaner, and now they have a break chance of their own. Disc going up to Luke Rafis. Lindsley defending. The ball's hanging and not coming back in bounds. Kevin Healy throwing that disc out of bounds in the upwind direction, and Salt Lake has the disc back.
Yeah, an unfortunate turnover there from DC. I mean, just not getting a lot of opportunities, and to just give it right back like that has got to be disheartening.
Field. Resetting to Lindsley. Here's Sean Knoll. Up to Jacob Miller. Knoll over to Miller. Game of catch going on at the front of the stack there. Ben Field almost unmarked. And it looks, I'm seeing one referee performing the pick signal. So Ben Field having to march the disc back 10 yards. Picks illegal for offenses to set in the UFA. Healy on the mark, Field with the disc. Field around to Knoll. Knoll with the soft inside through the hands of Field. He can't believe he didn't catch that one, Alex.
Not soft enough.
A.J. Merriman unleashing it into the wind right away, and honestly, his intended receiver never had a chance.
That is super unfortunate for DC. Just 2 touches on this point and 2 turnovers. It's going to have to be better. Convert these break opportunities.
Miles Grovic, the intended receiver there. And A.J. Merriman wants that one back. Timeout taken by Salt Lake. Get another look at the turnovers here on this point as Luke Rafis sped to that first block.
Yeah, I don't hate the look there, but just kind of sailed it up in the wind, wasn't able to get back. That might be the new disc coming into
UFA.tv to stay up to date on your favorite teams on all your devices, including Roku and Fire TV. First time out of the game here, and the Shredheads taking every opportunity to rock out in support of their team.
A lot to love here if you're a Shredhead. Shreds are playing well. DC giving the ball up. Looking good for Salt Lake in this first half.
Third point of the game with 2 turnovers. Luke Jorgensen gets it to Field, and he drops the disc for the second time this point. And this time, Lauren Boyle, Alex Crew, and Xavier Maxstat, the DC coaching staff, elect to call a timeout right away with their D point having the disc on the attacking half of midfield. Follow this season's action on the UFA's updated mobile app. The latest UFA app update features customized designs for all 24 teams and direct access to watchufa.tv. Download from your app store today. Alex, what's your feel on this matchup right now? Is momentum shifting? Is energy up in the air? How are you characterizing what's unfolding right now?
Yeah, I think Salt Lake coming out playing physical, playing with a lot of energy. I know that can get under opponents' skin, especially in this enemy territory like Zion Bank Stadium. And I think DC just struggling to get momentum, and that's something they talked about, you know, in some of our pregame interviews. Salt Lake likes to make plays. They like to run fast, get hype around that. And DC's got to steady the ship here and start doing what they do best, throwing some quick passes and punching it in the end zone.
Aroy with the high release to Malks, and he gets it back. Offensive personnel here in for DC after the timeout. Salt Lake putting on its defensive line. Norbaum, the inside to Roy. How about the shimmy to open that one up? Malks, 5 yards outside the end zone. We saw DC turn it over here earlier in the game. Monroe floating the disc to space. A careless turnover there from Tyler Monroe. And Ben Ashton unleashes the deep shot. Monga chasing it down. Monga is there to finish the break.
That is a huge momentum shift for Salt Lake.
Technically, that's an 0 point for Salt Lake, but given the personnel, the emphasis after the timeout, that's got to feel crushing for DC.
It feels like a break, for sure. I mean, you sub that offense out there, short field, you want to punch it in. That's a big missed opportunity for DC. I mean, they're just not going to get that many chances, and we've seen them choke away so many of these red zone opportunities. That one with the O-line out there on the field. They're going to have some things to talk about at halftime. They don't want to let this thing get away from them too early. You want to keep it close here going into the second half.
Tony Monga now with a goal and an assist here for the Salt Lake Shred. And I'll be honest, when I thought Ben Ashton released that, I thought that throw was off the mark completely. But it could not have been any more perfect.
Yeah, it was actually a great throw downwind. Downwind, the disc tends to drop out of the sky a little bit faster, so putting that extra emphasis on the height, important.
Drop there from Bonnet, and Salt Lake working quickly. Grant Lindsley crossing over on this point. Will Selfridge as well. Lindsley saving possession there with a low throw. He and Selfridge just playing catch after the turnover. Here's Matt Rusnagel in the red zone. Veteran of the Nashville Nightshade, appearing in his first game since 2018. And Taylor Barton has the disc in his hand, but Salt Lake calling a timeout with a chance to extend its lead to 4, just a minute 28 away from halftime. So Salt Lake regrouping here on this timeout. DC putting its defensive personnel in there. What does DC need to do after this timeout to get the ball back and apply some pressure?
I mean, you know, we know DC for making easy, quick passes, being stingy with the ball, and they've made a lot of uncharacteristic from running with this momentum. And At this point, I think DC just wants to get in the half, take a deep breath, let the fans settle down, get some Chick-fil-A in them. Maybe they'll, you know, calm it down at half, because Salt Lake on a roll right now.
Grant Lindsley going crossfield to Jordan Kerr. Unorthodox way to get that ball there, but it worked. Here's Jacob Miller in the red zone. Lindsley. Here's Luke Jorgensen. 5 yards outside the red zone. Beg your pardon, outside the goal line. Crossfield backhand to Field, but Fred Farah explodes from the back of the end zone and gets the block, and he's already got possession at midfield. Here's Kevin Healy. Can this DC D-line earn its first break of the game? Fred Farah makes the grab, and once again, it's the D-line out there, just like the last point, but it's not a break. This is technically an O point. And Salt Lake with an uncharacteristic red zone turnover. Thanks to the defensive prowess of Fred Farah, who finishes off the bookends at the other end.
That's the kind of fire that DC needed going into half. Farah came out of nowhere on that D. I thought that was a great throw to the break side from Salt Lake. Farah comes flying out of the stack to block it, and then, I mean, an incredible effort on that grab, a little bit high on the throw from Edmonds, a nice shot, and Farah just goes up huge and comes down with it. I mean, they are fired up on the DC Breeze sideline. They needed that.
You know, this DC defense still has some great talents like Farah, and we've talked about the pieces from this year's roster that it's missing, like Bloodgood and Jasper Tom, but they're also missing a lot of other defensive studs from last year who are no longer on the roster. Troy Holland, a practice player this year, Musa Jah, Alexandre Fall, David Cranston, another long-term fixture in the DC scene, and of course Joe Merrill, who is now back here competing with the Salt Lake Shred this season. Selfridge pumping the deep shot. Jorgensen sending Lindsley. He's got steps. That was an easy finish for the Shred offense.
Nice cut there from Grant. Great put on the downwind. Salt Lake, not a lot of nice downwind hucks here. Really putting them on a platter. Really open there from Grant. Interesting to see how he got that many steps. He was moving though.
.25 seconds until halftime. What is DC gonna cook up here, Alex?
25 seconds, a lot of time on offense. They could probably complete 30 passes the way they play, if not more. They can still punch it in. But they have been struggling to move it down pretty quickly, so we'll see how Salt Lake plays this off the pole.
Andrew Roy up to Thomas Edmonds. 20 seconds, working against the double team. Gets the disc off the line to Mulks. He's just north of his own goal line. McDonald with 10 seconds, working downwind. He takes a second to check in on the clock, and he pulls the trigger. This one's hanging. Fred Farah running it out. Can he get there? Not quite. A phenomenal effort from the Maryland product, but he will not be able to reel that one in, as he was working in those downfield cutting lanes. And Salt Lake going into half with a 12-9 lead, Alex.
Yeah, DC looking a little bit out of sorts. Some unforced errors, maybe looking off some things I think they normally hit. Unable to really stretch the ball the way Salt Lake is. And I think that's just, you know, they're not able to complete the amount of throws they are having to take like they normally do.
Salt Lake making the Shred heads happy here in the 2024 Super Series opener.
Oh, he's getting the crowd going.
Are you kidding me? You are kidding me!
Holy smoke! Was there any doubt? Was there any doubt?
this is going to be the game. Joe Clutton battling for position. He tips it to the end zone where it's caught by Elijah Jaime at the buzzer to tie the game. Incredible awareness from Clutton, and we've got overtime tonight. My God! One of the plays of the year.
Performance-based apparel. Visit beultimate.com for official UFA threads. And by Power Up Premium Trail Mix. Thoughtfully sourced, wholesome ingredients to confidently fuel every body. Get $2 off your purchase today.
My first few years of college, I threw every single day. Of course you want to be a champion. Of course you want to be working towards winning titles.
Be happy, but never satisfied.
Better than ever.
Hello, Premium Trail Mix. Power Up is a snack that is uncomplicated and uncompromising. Every ingredient is thoughtfully sourced and carefully crafted for a mix that elevates your snacking experience. There's no better way to power up your day.
To Zions Bank Stadium, site of the 2024 Super Series opener. Hometown Salt Lake Shred, also hosts of the 2024 championship weekend, with a 12-9 lead over the DC Breeze in DC's first ever matchup against a West Division opponent. The Ultimate Frisbee Association is in a new era. The league acquiring the rights to license and use the term Frisbee. They're starting to manufacture, use, and will shortly begin selling their new discs. And Alex, you've been practicing with this disc. What are your early impressions of the new professional ultimate Frisbee?
I like it. It's a little bit stiffer in the wind. You can throw it real far. I'm a fan of the disc. I think it'll take some getting used to for all the players, but overall, I don't see any problems with it. I think it'll be a positive.
So you think it holds its edge a little better, and it is a little, I guess, more versatile in the wind as opposed to dying more quickly?
Yeah, it's not as flippy, some players would say. It won't burn over into the ground in the wind and like an old disc, maybe the one you got in your backyard that your dog chewed up. Utility to some of the players.
Well, this is the first of 8 Super Series matchups, a new competition format developed by the Ultimate Frisbee Association. We've got rivalry games, first-time face-offs, 4 rematches from the 2023 season, and this is featuring cross-division and intra-division matchups. And the Salt Lake Shred competing in this one here in Week 1, and they'll get a chance to face off against the New York Empire on June 29th in Week 10. And this New York team, which did win earlier today by 2 goals over Montreal, is going to look awfully different to the squad that won a championship back in 2023. Just a quick rattling off of these losses. Jeff Babbitt, Ryan Osgar, he could return. Babbitt now with Boston, Lithio with Chicago, Cats with Boston, but they're gaining Haberfield, Russell, Keegan. Alex, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on over there in New York. I think it'll be a new look. Will it affect some of their chemistry? Will it just affect some of their overall team feng shui? Only the season will really tell. I don't think, they're obviously losing a good amount of talent. They also got a good amount of talent over there with Liam, Russell, and Sean. So it's going to be an interesting new look for the New York Empire.
Seattle doubling up San Diego 28-14 earlier today. They did lose Tarek Akyus, but they gained reigning Rookie of the Year, Lucas Ambrose, Ian Sweeney, and Shane Worthington.
Yeah, that's a scary result for the team we're going to have to play first at home in Seattle. Seattle looking pretty good there against San Diego. Lucas is a big impact player on defense, gets a lot of blocks, so could be an exciting bunch of additions for Seattle.
DC, we've already talked about it as well. Elliot Bonnet and his teammates have a ton of work cut out for them here going into the second half. DC trailing by 3 in the first Super Series matchup of 2024.
Oh, he's getting the crowd going.
Are you kidding me? You are kidding me!
Holy smoke! Was there any doubt? Was there any doubt?
This is going to be the game. Joe Clutton battling for position. He tips it to the end zone where it's caught by Elijah Jaime at the buzzer to tie the game. Incredible awareness from Clutton, and we've got overtime tonight. On the grand stage to keep possession. Huge bid, gets the
It's a great
time.
opportunity for the Germans, and they break with ease.
Throw it the full 80 yards to the field?
Are you kidding me?
And an incredible
You
catch.
are kidding me.
Oh my gosh!
One of the plays of the year.
The Ultimate Frisbee Association is brought to you by Be Ultimate, enabling and inspiring athletes, trainers, coaches, and teams to be better than ever with performance-based apparel. Visit beultimate.com for official UFA threads. And by Power Up Premium Trail Mix. Thoughtfully sourced, wholesome ingredients to confidently fuel every body. Get $2 off your purchase today. Jordan Kerr leading the way with 3 assists for the Salt Lake Shred. Johnny Malks, Thomas Edmonds, and Cole Jurek. Jacob Miller with 2 assists for the DC Breeze. We look at the team-wide stats in the first half. Alex, what in particular jumps out to you here?
Definitely Hawks jumping out, 1 of 5 for DC. I mean, that's something we talked about. They like the short ball. Maybe that's why. Only 1 of 5 on the Hawks. And 3 of 3 for Salt Lake. So, I mean, I think that's a clear difference in how the two teams are playing right now.
DC with 12 turns in the first half, Salt Lake with 8. And DC receiving to start the third quarter. Edmonds up to Roy. McDonald back to Roy. Edmonds working against the double team for a second there. Shot to the end zone. His man is completely unmarked. And Thomas Edmonds has his 3rd assist of the game, finding Johnny Malks in the end zone there.
A little miscue there by Salt Lake, leaving Johnny open in the end zone, but a good start out of the second half for DC. See what they can do here on defense. Give some pressure to the Salt Lake O-line that, besides for a couple shaky points, has looked pretty stellar.
Well, they're starting the DC O-line, starting the third quarter a lot sharper than they started the first quarter. And now it's up to the Breeze defense to get DC back in this one. Trailing by 2, and A.J. Merriman's pull into the wind sails pretty far out of bounds. And Sean Knoll, disc in play at the brick mark. Shot, resets to Lindsley. Phenomenal block there at the front of the stack by Isaac Lee. He hit the deck. He's got the ball for DC, and he calls timeout right away.
Yeah, great block from Isaac there. Don't hate the timeout. They want to punch it in. Last time they were was out there, they were not able to execute, so this will be big. An early timeout from DC, so you really got to capitalize on this one.
Phenomenal pattern recognition there by Lee, reading Jorgensen's route off the front. And a friendly reminder that tickets are on sale now for Championship Weekend 13, happening right here in Salt Lake City. Head over to shopufa.com today to reserve your spot.
Not a bad little place to take a trip in August out here to Salt Lake.
And if this crowd shot is any indication, you know the vibes are going to be phenomenal with the Shred Heads, regardless of who's competing.
I mean, Bryce Merrill told us in the pregame interview, you got Chick-fil-A and Diet Coke in any stadium. Vibes are going to be all right for most people.
So DC with a chance to break here on the second point of the second half. Malks up to Thomas Edmonds. 2 turnovers from this spot on the field already from DC in this game. Norbaum. The scoober to Malks. Here's Edmonds. Pump faking, finds Norbaum again. Here's A-Roy, inching closer to the goal line. Rowan McDonald has Johnny Malks, and that's DC's first break of the game.
I don't know what words Lauren had for her squad in there in the halftime locker room, but they came out here with a little focus, little intensity. Johnny Malks getting close, as close as he'll probably ever get to spiking it with some passion, a little hop step, little arm up in the air.
Johnny pulling double duty after the timeout there and scoring his second goal of the second half. And DC and Salt Lake back within 1. I think Salt Lake and a lot of West Division teams viewing this game really as a benchmark for how well does the best of the best in the West match up against the East. We don't always get these cross-divisional matchups, and Salt Lake looking at this as an opportunity to see how its new sets and new coaching structure works, and DC looking to make a statement early on, see if they can come back.
Yeah, it's such an interesting matchup for that reason, not knowing how DC or Salt Lake will match up against these other division opponents. It's just great to see the two styles clashing.
Salt Lake known for its athleticism and big gainers on offense, and that short pass falling incomplete. Jacob Miller looked like he missed that pass, but the back official initiating a contact foul.
Lake maybe a little bit shaky to come out of the second half. Big switch in momentum so far.
Selfridge over to Kerr. Inside to Lindsley. Jacob Miller on the sideline. He's got Kerr. Good patience from the Salt Lake offense after what seemed to be a turnover.
Almost a second turnover there. Maybe a little lucky to get that call. I did not initially see the contact, but referee in the back has a better perspective than I do up here in the booth. And they capitalize on the foul by DC and punch it in. And stop the bleeding. 2 straight points out of the half for DC there. Salt Lake able to get back on track.
Salt Lake with a 2-goal lead here early in the third quarter. Getting their season started against this East Division opponent. Next weekend, they've got a road trip at San Diego, at LA, and then they've got 2 weeks off until another road trip, going to Oakland and then Colorado. And Alex, by the time they face you, that'll be their 5th game of the regular season. That's just the Summit's 2nd game of the 2024 campaign.
It'll be an interesting one, for sure. First roller pull of the game out of bounds for Salt Lake. DC able to get it going pretty quick, get the offense moving. Surprised to see that with how good the pulls have been. Foul on the mark. Salt Lake not happy about it. DC thrilled about it.
Yeah, Jurek working against the double team, pivoting aggressively and drawing the foul. And Jurek gets to march the disc up 10 yards, and it looks like, was that a second foul assessed? I saw the motion overhead.
Just
from the referee.
A little bit of confusion, I believe, from the officials.
Kyle Weinberg on the mark. The clock is still running. It just now stopped at 7 minutes and 45 seconds. And Cole Jurek and Kyle Weinberg appear to be confused. Clock gets reset to 8 minutes and 15 seconds. Here's Jurek. Back to Malks. Malks with the short gainer. Salt Lake's defense has been stout in the red zone so far, but a stall called on Johnny Malks, and DC offense turns it over once again. Salt Lake's defense with a chance to counterattack. Chad Yorkeson up to Tony Monga. Floats one to Weinberg. He catches through the contact. Joe Merrill runs it out, and he's in the end zone. What a turn of events. DC thinking they're just inches away from a hold, but turns into another break for the Salt Lake Shred.
Yeah, Joe. Salt Lake just playing some really good high-pressure defense, taking away the first looks for the DC offense. Turns out to be a stall. Johnny unable to get rid of the disc in 7, and Salt Lake pretty quickly getting down the field and punching one in.
Salt Lake D-line has been really strong at working in that downwind condition. Mid-range shots, deep hucks, they've been effective. And Joe Merrill, if you forgot, played 2021 with DC, came back and played 2022 with Salt Lake. The goal scorer then went back to DC and played D-line there in 2023. And here in 2024, he's playing D-line for Salt Lake and trying to reignite some of that scoring touch. Deep shot going up here to Bonny, and an elevating clap catch for the French product. Brings DC back within 2.
Yep, and that's the second time we've been able to see Elliott stretch the field, come down with a pass, and I think that's really important for the DC offense. I know they're okay with moving the ball, taking a lot of touches, and getting it in the end zone, but those quick couple throw passes feel really good. Get the other team's O-line back out there. Let your defense get right back out there as well and get another opportunity at a block. It's important.
What a sequence there for the French product. And DC needing to cook up a recipe to convert some kind of upwind break. Salt Lake's offense back out there with the wind at its back.
Get down there, D! Come on, Weaver! Come on, Weaver! Get down! Nice pull, Robbie!
There's a nice pull from the DC Breeze D-line.
Here's Selfridge. Up to Dunabile. Back to Knoll. Outside in flick to Lindsley. Communicating with his pump fakes, resets to Knoll.
Weaver tight! Weaver tight! Up!
And Field. First game in the UFA after making a name for himself at Northeastern.
I'd like to see a little more pressure out of DC's handlers there, defensive handlers. Not a lot of pressure on those swinging passes.
Lindsley in power position. Inside, past Jurek. Knoll to Field. In flow to Dunabile. That is pretty offense, Alex.
Yeah, that inside shot to the middle of the field from Grant really unlocked their offense. And I just think a little too passive by the DC handler defenders there. Just allowing Salt Lake to kind of swing it back and forth until they found the shot downfield that they'd like. I want Salt Lake to think about those resets a little bit more if I was the DC Breeze defense.
Chase Dune, one of those guys that wasn't necessarily a starter in 2022. 2023 really upped his game and earned every opportunity he got. It'll be exciting to watch his growth continue here in 2024. Malk's up line. DC's offense working in the downwind trajectory. McDonald off the line to Norbaum. Johnny Hoffman hunting for a block there. Here's Burpee. Up to McDonald. And Bonnet almost dropped that one. We've seen some of those downwind catches be a little trickier than you might expect.
Yeah, those can be hard coming in hot, but Rowan making it look easy.
Rowan with a laser grab off the hands of Tyler Monroe. And DC hanging around, not giving up yet. Breeze are back within 2.
Nice break shot there from Elliott after the bobble. And followed up by another break shot there by Tyler Monroe.
I mean, those kind of step back flick breaks. Tyler Monroe's got a lot of throws in his arsenal, but I feel like that's one he really loves.
Yeah, he's really good at these kind of high release break mark shots. Really good downwind since the disc does tend to fall out of the sky a little bit faster. Those are tough to guard.
A.J. Merriman on the pull. Getting Grant Lindsley back in the shred end zone. He'll center up to Knoll. Lee on the mark there.
Charlie far side, Charlie. Good Luke, far side, Luke, far side, Luke. Middle, Luke, get in the middle,
Still holding on to a 3-goal margin here in the third. Jacob Miller up to Luke Jorgensen. His brother McKay inactive tonight. He's been battling an ankle injury dating back to January, but the deep shot looking for Ben Field. He sold out, but was just inches away from the grab, and now with 2 minutes and 30 seconds remaining here in the third quarter, A.J. Merriman picks up on his own cone.
Incredible effort there from Ben, getting way up the field, way up in the air.
Isaac Lee thought about the backhand, directing traffic. Here's A.J. Merriman, and DC calls a timeout, I believe, before Merriman unleashed that huck. Well, the UFA season is just getting started, but Major League Table Tennis's championship weekend is already upon us. MLTT is committed to advancing the sport of table tennis by providing the ultimate table tennis experience for everyone involved. Catch the finals tomorrow at 3 p.m. Central on the MLTT YouTube page. And hey, while you're at it, say hi to our buddy Evan Lepler in the chat. We miss Evan tonight, wishing him safe travels and best of luck on the call, and we know he's itching to get back on the mic here with the UFA.
So interesting here that DC burned their second time out of the hat. They have 0 timeouts remaining. Wonder if that's, well, definitely an outcome of not being able to punch in their break opportunities earlier, but they're going to have to trust their D-line to punch them in the rest of this game.
Here's Malks. Burt beat a Jurek. Edmonds. Norbaum. McDonald. Back to Edmonds. Rowan taken off, but Edmonds finds Norbaum underneath. Minute 40 remaining here in the third quarter. Here's Johnny Malks. Up to Rowan McDonald, the former MVP inside the red zone. Good reset off the line to Gus Norbaum. McDonald, front of the end zone, and what a finish there. That's Thomas Edmonds. And DC converts its second break in the quarter to bring this game back within 1, Alex.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting, though. Like I said, they burned the rest of the timeouts, so they were able to punch 2 early breaks in using those timeouts. But for the rest of the game, their D-line is going to have to do it on their own. O-line can't come in to save them. So, but a lot of momentum, so we'll see how that turns out for DC.
Thomas Edmonds having himself a game, and I mean, he's always been playing at the elite level, but the last couple seasons he's really been having kind of a glow up, so to speak. 2023 Ultimate Canada Athlete of the Year, a part of that truck stop squad that won a club championship in the USA Ultimate competition, was a huge contributor for DC on both sides of the ball last season.
Yeah, Thomas Edmonds, a stellar player, athletic, has the throws, good at defense, offense, someone you love to have on a team, so versatile, well-rounded.
1:05 remaining here in the third quarter. Let's see what the Shred offense can do. Knoll with the upwind backhand to Dunabile. Merriman giving backside chase. Merriman got a hand on it. And as you pointed out, Alex, no timeouts left for the DC Breeze. 45 seconds and counting remaining in the quarter. This D-line is going to be working downwind.
Yeah, this is a pivotal moment in this game. Great D there from AJ throwing a little swag out there after the play.
DC deep in its own end zone. Healy on the goal line. Here's Remy Paust. 30 seconds left here in this third quarter. Healy. Gaining Merriman. Merriman scoobers into traffic. Off the hands of both a receiver and a defender. 6 seconds left in the quarter. And we're trying to see if this is just an injury call or if there was any other foul call involved. As I believe that's Miles Grovic. So we get another look at Merriman Scuber. Grovic in the area. I think Healy got a finger on it, but boy, Alex, what do you think about that decision?
Just a great D from AJ to get them the block, but just another bad turnover. And such a crucial part of the game, and just an interesting decision to try to rifle the Scuber.
4 seconds left, 3 seconds left. Farad defending with Merriman against Kerr and Selfridge. And AJ Merriman there with Fred Farad and knocked that one to the turf. DC had a chance to tie it up, but they're still trailing by one. The first Super Series matchup in league history. A one-goal game heading into the fourth. Stay with us here on WatchUFA.tv and YouTube.
Oh, he's getting the crowd going.
Are you kidding me? You are kidding me! Holy smoke!
Was there any doubt? Was there any doubt?
This is buzzer to tie the game! Incredible awareness from Clutton, and we've got overtime tonight! On the grand stage to keep possession alive. Huge bid, gets the
It's a great
time!
opportunity for the Germans, and they break with ease.
Throw it the full 80 yards to the field? Are you kidding me? And an incredible catch! You are kidding me! Oh my God! One of the plays of the year!
DC with a 2-0 run at the end of the third quarter. They win the third quarter 6-4, still trailing the Salt Lake Shred 16-15 here as we enter the final frame At the first Super Series matchup of 2024, Alex Atkins, at points, it feels like this game has felt out of reach for DC. But it feels like they're back in things here at the start of the fourth quarter. What's your feel on this one?
Yeah, Salt Lake had momentum at the beginning of the game, but DC came out with a lot of focus in the second half, burned their 2 timeouts, punched in both the breaks. And now they're right down by 1. Would have liked to capitalize on that late opportunity at the end of the third quarter, but here we are, Salt Lake up 1, entering the fourth.
DC with 14 turnovers to Salt Lake's 12 through 3 quarters of play. Sean Knoll gets the disc over to Luke Jorgensen and then right back to him. We've seen these DC handler defenders poach the lane to start and then clamp down all night long. Here's Dunabile. Back to Lindsley. The DC sideline appealing to the referees for a pick call, but no came. Selfridge off the line to Luke Jorgensen. He gets it back in power position. The counterweight attack back to the opposite direction opens up to Lindsley. Lindsley attacks now, beating Rafus up line. Sean Knoll looking fast as heck, going to that front cone. And Lindsley to Knoll opens the scoring here in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, Sean determined to catch that in the front corner of the end zone. Nice work from Will.
Handler, and he often does start in that set, but when you look back at his stats from the 2023 regular season, I was surprised when I was researching and double checking this, getting ready for this game. He had 3,200, almost 3,300 receiving yards last year, a career high for him among multiple other bests, tying his 30 assist career high record, 22 goals a career high, plus 34 a career high, and 94.9% completion percentage.
Dude is getting open.
DC's offense back out there with little margin here in the fourth quarter. Wonderful to have you with us here on the UFA YouTube and watchufa.tv. The first of 8 Super Series matchups that you'll be treated to throughout this season. Here's Jeff Wodach on the near sideline. Working downwind, he's got Andrew Roy. Roy gets it back from Norbaum. Roy surveying his options. Over to Norbaum, Roy churning. Back to Norbaum, did he hop in? Game officials say yes. And DC back within 1 once again.
I'll tell you what, Andrew Ward was working that point. Up lines, swinging it, moving the ball. He's got his hands on his knees. He's a bit tired potentially, but it was worth it after that. Nice possession from the DC Breeze offense.
Yeah, I wonder if DC was traveling with any oxygen cans like New York did for its Western road trip last year.
Maybe they should get a couple. Maybe they should. It's tough up here in the altitude. They seem to be handling it pretty well.
Andrew Roy with his first goal of the fourth quarter. 5 goals in the regular season last year. His first with the DC Breeze after suiting up for the Minnesota Wind Chill in 2021 and 2022. Shred O-line back out there. Sean Knoll overthrows the easy swing to Luke Jorgensen in a short field for DC. And Alex, as you pointed out earlier, no timeouts left for the Breeze. McCutcheon off the front of the stack, chased by Lindsley. Lee. Here's Remy Paust. And Isaac Lee with the devastating drop, and no one's going with the Salt Lake Shred counterattackers. Knoll with acres of space. Selfridge unmarked. Knoll leading him to the promised land. He gets there.
Wow, what a sequence. And it just feels like every time DC is about to get back into the game, they do something to give it right back to Salt Lake. I mean, they've had their opportunities, that's for sure.
unbelievable shift in momentum over the few moments of that point. In one moment, you thought DC was going to tie this game up.
Just, you wonder how many more chances they're going to have to get this thing back to even.
Just out of frame, Alex Crew, one of the assistant coaches, talking to that D-line, providing encouragement and trying to boost morale as this group heads down the stretch. Wodach unmarked. Malks. Some touch on this downwind flick. Ben Ashton bodies Rowan McDonald so effectively. Rowan trying to keep him on his back hip. Those boys were just doing some good old-fashioned banging in the paint.
Yeah, Ashton, some nice physicality, kind of just moving Rowan out of the spot. Little kick up. Pretty athletic way. Get up for the number 12.
He's going to move the disc closer to the center of the goal line because that's where the disc rolled out of bounds. And an immediate first throw turn, short field for the DC offense.
I trust you to give me it when it's not there.
8:10 remaining here in the fourth quarter. Disc off the line to Malks. Norbaum losing yardage. Jurek up to Tymont. Monroe, short space to Gus Norbaum, and that's an easy finish for Bonnet.
The Frenchman, a nice debut in his first UFA game. I'm sure he's got some proud fans back at home watching, tear it up here in the States.
And once again, the pressure mounting for the DC defense. What can they come up with? Luke Jorgensen over to Jacob Miller. Stall count rising there, but Lindsley is the reset. Ben Field comes underneath and shoots deep right away. He's sending Selfridge to the end zone. Selfridge hops in. Just when DC thought they had the clamps down on Salt Lake in their own red zone, you see the firepower of this Shred offense on display.
Yeah, Ben turned around and just absolutely ripped a flick. Very little hesitation on that, and Will proving incredibly hard to guard in this game. I mean, he's open all over the field. The youngster is just flying all over the place, and he looks good.
Tell you what, Ben Field has a hand cannon. There's no way around that one.
Came off the hand hot, that's for sure, and quick. He turned around, he saw his receiver, Will. I mean, that's got to be a pretty appealing sight, Will with 10 steps, and he just ripped that thing. That was nice out of Ben.
So 19-17, Salt Lake leads. 7:20 and counting remaining here in the first Super Series matchup of 2024. Rowan McDonald. What magic does he have up his sleeve to get his East Division teammates back in this one? There's the crossfield shot, sending Zach Burpee. Too much on it in the downwind direction.
Yeah, Rowan just looking a little sped up in that sequence there, and DC does not have a lot of room for error going forward in this game. They got to punch in these holds and get a couple breaks as well. So we'll see what happens on this possession for Salt Lake, and they still have 2 timeouts.
Salt Lake on the counterattack here. Joe Merrill. Throw from Weinberg to Monga. Can he get there? Yes, sir. Tony Monga having himself a night for the Salt Lake Shred D-line. right in the highway to the danger zone.
Yeah, and that's a dagger. Absolute dagger for DC. I mean, they've been crawling, creeping, scratching their way back into this game from the beginning, from that first drop, really, and they just letting it slip away a little bit here. They don't have many more opportunities to give away to Salt Lake, and kudos to Salt Lake. They're really capitalizing, and I mean, interesting to see. I mean, one of the big points of this game is Salt Lake not using any of their timeouts, converting just with their D-line out there on
Game 2, multiple assists, connecting on deep shots and pinning DC deep with his pulls. Here's Malks working upwind. DC down by 3, just under 6 minutes remaining. Cole Jurek. Here's a deep shot. Edmonds looking for Bonnet, and that one incomplete. Great defensive pressure there from Matt Rusnagel.
Yeah, we've been hearing about how high Elliott can jump, but just a little out of his reach there for the Frenchman.
Weinberg wide open underneath. Working downwind. We know he loves to pull the trigger. He does here. Joe Merrill jogging it out. Can he get in the end zone? Yes, sir!
Pouring it on Salt Lake here, and I mean, that's really the difference in this game, Ian. Salt Lake, just with their D-line out there on the field, able to just convert, and that might be hard to come back from for DC. 5 minutes left, down 4, but momentum just completely taking the air out of DC's players right now.
2 straight breaks. Salt Lake Shred, 2 consecutive assists for Kyle Weinberg. And yes, there are 5 minutes and 16 seconds remaining. We've seen crazy comebacks in the AUDL, but for my money, that felt like the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. I mean, the momentum just so much on Salt Lake's side here. DC is going to have to get quick holds. And I mean, the interesting tactic to call those timeouts so early, it worked, got them back in the game, but then, they just weren't able to do it. And they had so many opportunities is the thing, just end of that third quarter to tie it up, the drop down here to tie it up, and just, every time they got close, just not able to capitalize.
Johnny Malks pulling the trigger, time on, legging it out. Too much float on that one.
And going back to that huck percentage as well, I mean, Salt Lake, last couple of points, has hit on all their hucks, and DC just not able to capitalize on the same clip, and maybe it's the discs. You see that one sailing a little bit too far, the altitude. I don't know. I don't want to make excuses for the DC players, but, we'll see if their huck percentage goes back up when they head back home.
We've seen many momentum shifts over the course of this game, but you referenced it quickly earlier, the drop at 17-16 when DC could have tied the game and instead dropped the disc, didn't pursue on the counterattack, and all of a sudden they were trailing by 2 once again. That just felt like the real backbreaker that set Salt Lake on its trajectory. Salt Lake takes a timeout here with 4:16 remaining. And another reminder that tickets are on sale now for Championship Weekend 13, happening right here in Salt Lake City. Head over to shopufa.com today to reserve your spot. Just a beautiful setting here in between the Oquirrh and Wasatch Mountains. Zions Bank Stadium, a phenomenal complex utilized by Real Salt Lake and so many other teams here in the area. So excited to see the league's best on display just 4 months from now.
It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, Alex, what does the Summit have to say about that?
We'll see. We'll see. Nothing to say yet. We'll see.
Adkins sounding as reserved as ever here before his team has taken the field in 2024. Here's Salt Lake on the attack after the timeout. Again, this is technically a D point, but they did use a timeout here, and Isaac Lee gets the disc right back for DC. Great anticipation, great read. The Breeze attacking here. Again, D-line personnel out there, but this is an O point, and that's a turnover for Isaac Lee, his second of the quarter.
Yeah, things just not going the Breeze's way right now.
Here's Ben Field. Inside to Luke Jorgensen. Thought about the continue. Instead, pumps to Miller. Here's Kerr. Kerr, small space. He's got his man, Will Selfridge. Ooh, a little physicality there between him and A.J. Merriman. But cooler heads prevailing. Not looking like
that. Yeah, I would see a little bit. Yeah, a little bit of punching and shoving. Probably just some frustration. AJ taking out, things not going his way. Not really giving it, not really going their way. But yeah, Salt Lake just comes out. They play so high energy, so physical, and I think especially when you've never played them before, it can really catch you off guard. And
so 22-17. A third consecutive break for Salt Lake. This game feeling a little bit out of reach as the deep shot goes up to Bonnet, and Kyle Weinberg climbs the ladder and says, "No, sir."
Yeah, welcome to the league, Elliot. It's been tough. I mean, I think he'll get there, but not able to come down with a few of those jump balls in the end zone here.
The Salt Lake D-line moving quickly on the counterattack. Oh, what a shutdown block there from Rowan McDonald. He picks it up, flips it right back to Bonnet. And DC back within 4 now. 2:23 remaining on the game clock.
Roller pull, turn, score, roller pull, turn, score.
That's the formula?
Roller pull, score. Wait, no. Turn, score. Maybe just Callahan. Maybe just score. We're going to need a couple of those for sure.
Lots of time. I beg your pardon. Lots of work to do and little time to do it for DC. It's been an impressive showing tonight for Salt Lake. Coach Bryce Merrill talking about his experience in the offseason, what he learned at championship weekend. He really learned how far back down the mountain you come before you climb the next one. Thinking about his finals loss and how much his team needed to rebuild things coming into 2024. An electric snag there from Will Selfridge, but Luke Rafis hits the deck and earns a block going back the other way. Here's Isaac Lee in the red zone. DC with a chance to break. Isaac Lee connects with his receiver. There's Miles Grovick. DC back within 3, 1:44 remaining.
The boys are just flying around the field now. Holy moly, what a catch. Trailing edge from Will, hitting the ground, and then oopsies. Conservation. Nice D there from Lucas. Nice little break there from Isaac. He's still pumped up. He's still playing for something. DC's still fighting. Not ready to quit just yet.
And first time he's thrown a scoring pass into the end zone. Here's A.J. Merriman. Will he unleash a roller pull? No, sir. More traditional pull upwind. Looks like the wind has softened a little bit as we've gotten into the night. Time running out for any kind of DC comeback. Salt Lake can really just play catch here, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, I like the sagging off the handlers early in the game. Don't let them throw stuff downfield, but I got to pressure everything at this point, even if you let them go score quick. I mean,
lots of offensive personnel crossing over here for DC on this point. Colt Jurek, Andrew Roy among them. Ben Field pulling the trigger. Will Selfridge trying to leg it out. Pressured by Healy. Selfridge, what an adjustment! The Selfridge selfie adding to the Selly collection there.
Will is balling right now. He's out here making plays. He's having a good time. You love to see that out of the young fella. And just not an easy place to come and win a game is this Zion Bank Stadium. DC learning that the hard way. Only a few have been able to come here and prevail victorious. Bryce still out there barking commands at the DC, at the Salt Lake D-line.
Will Selfridge now leading the pack. 6 goals, an assist and a block, +6, 589 total yards.
That's a lot of yards.
Can't forget his 4 hockey assists either. This man knows how to finish and knows how to set his teammates up.
He just flies around the field. Very, very difficult to guard. They're getting him the disc.
Rowan McDonald up to Bonnet.
Tempo.
Back to McDonald. Here's Malks. 36 seconds left here. Malks on the goal line. Norbaum wants it. Norbaum finds his man. That's Tyler Monroe. And DC back within 3, but just 21 seconds remaining. Alex, what does this victory say about A, the Salt Lake Shred going into 2024, and B, the strength of the East Division compared to the West?
Don't set me up like that,
Hey,
Ian.
you could tell me that there's nothing to read into it. I just want to know what you think.
No, this is a statement win for Salt Lake, especially at home. This was a really good game for them. I think the break opportunities, their D-line being able to punch it in the way they are, just how athletic they look, really out athleting DC in a lot of areas. Just how they're able to execute the long ball. It's a big statement game. It's early in the season, but it says a lot about maybe the West and the East and how things maybe shaking out early in this year. 2 of the top teams in these cross-country divisions going at it, in the West proving victorious in the West. So we'll see. We'll get another look when Salt Lake travels to New York.
That's going to happen in Week 10, and the clock hits 0 here at Zions Bank Stadium. Salt Lake, the 2023 finalist, starts its 2024 campaign with an emphatic victory over one of the top teams in the East Division, the DC Breeze, 23-20 on their home turf, making the Shred Heads as happy as ever. This was the first Super Series matchup of 2024. When we come back, we'll take a look at some stats and analysis, break it all down. Stay with us. The Ultimate Frisbee Association is brought to you by Be Ultimate, enabling and inspiring. Get $2 off your purchase today. Salt Lake, the site of 2024 championship weekend, also the site of the Shred's first victory in their 2024 regular season campaign. The Shred take down the DC Breeze 23-20 here at Zions Bank Stadium. Ian Toner alongside Alex Atkins. Alex, your closing thoughts as you take a look at these stats and look back on the spectacle we saw here in Utah.
Yeah, in terms of this game, I think the big difference is huck percentage. Look at that. I think that's, if you had to pick just one, that says a lot. 7 for 7 out of Salt Lake, really dialing in with those new discs here. And 2 of 11 for DC just ain't going to cut it in many games. And as well as those break chances, 50% out of Salt Lake, but not having to burn as many timeouts there as DC did to get theirs done. So really impressive victory here for Salt Lake. It's going to be exciting to see how the rest of their schedule pans out. I'm pretty excited to get a shot at them myself. And DC going to have to go home and, work some things out, get some players back, figure out maybe how to throw this new disc a little bit farther down the field, and they'll bounce back.
Next up for DC, they head to Philadelphia next weekend. As we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, Salt Lake, a doubleheader road trip next weekend. They go to San Diego on May 3rd and then LA on May 4th. But so much for this Salt Lake offense to be proud of looking back on this performance tonight. Ben Field with 4 assists and 1 goal in his UFA debut. Jordan Kerr with 4 assists and 2 goals. How about Will Selfridge? 6 goals and 1 assist. 589 total yards, leading the pack by a mile. It's been a pleasure to get this 2024 campaign kicked off. For Alex Atkins, Blaine Bestel, Isaac Pritchett, and our entire crew, thank you so much for joining us. Have a great night, everybody. Salt Lake, starting 2024 1-0.
Oh, he's getting the crowd going.
Are you kidding me? You are kidding me!
Holy smokes! Was there any doubt? Was there any doubt?
This is going to be the game. Joe Clutton battling for position. He tips it to the end zone where it's caught by Elijah Jaime at